Hey everyone, Mitch coming in from the Commander's Core Studio. Welcome to the show. Alright, spoiler season just keeps moving on. Overnight, I, sleep a little bit, and all of a sudden I wake up and I look at my phone, and I know I shouldn't do that during spoiler season, but, yeah, then I see the spoilers and I'm wide awake, and all of a sudden I need to get in there and talk about these cards. Let's start things off with Wax Shapestealer, a 0/0 shapeshifter that costs 4 mana in blue. Thank you, MTG Goldfish, for the translated version of this one. It's got flash, and it says, you may have this creature enter as a copy of a creature or an artifact you control, and it's got cycling for 2. This is a very solid clone. Now, when it comes to clones, you got a wide variety of them. Typically, the standard is, okay, a 4-mana clone, like the original, and enters as a copy of any creature on the battlefield. This one changes it up. It gives you a couple of different things that kind of makes up for the fact that it cannot copy your opponent's things. It's only your things, which is completely fine, and usually for most decks out there, that's typically what you want to copy anyways. So being able to copy a, artifact is nice. That's additional compared to what usual clones can do. So being able to copy some really spicy artifacts, you can do some really cool things with that. Absolutely. Being able to give this flash as well is huge. Flashing it in out of nowhere can be a great, out of nowhere blocker, or maybe even a combo piece for you potentially too. Or just, at the very least, being able to be flexible when you're playing it, being like, okay, I'll save up mana. I've got a counterspell in my hand if anything crazy happens. If not, before my turn starts, I can flash this in and just, have an unexpected creature, unexpected artifact in play. And cycling for 2, that obviously is huge. That if you don't need a clone, if you say need something else, you don't have any good creatures, artifacts in play, dig down into your deck, get something else. So I think this is a very solid design. I really like this overall. I hope it's budget friendly. And I guess I should say as well, yeah, cycling decks love this as well. And of course, I am one step closer now to Fluctuator.deck with, the everything in the deck has cycling too. And you just get Fluctuator, and you cycle your entire deck and you say, I did it! And your opponents are like, what'd you do? I lost by cycling my deck. And they're like, what is your problem? Go away. Anyways, next up, we've got Webstrike Elite. Also has cycling, but, it has mana values in there, so you can't really utilize it. That's okay. All right, for the Fluctuator.deck where you need everything in generic mana. Okay, a 3/3 insect archer with reach for green. And it doesn't stop there. Again, back in the day, this would be like, oh my gosh, a 3/3 for 2. Wow. And these days, it's like, okay, what else does it do? It better do other things or I don't want to play with it. Cycling for X green. When you cycle this card, destroy up to 1 target artifact or enchantment mana value X. This is a very solid card. And when it comes to, I guess, insect tribal, sure, yeah, a shoe-in for that. Or archer tribal. Yeah, that's the thing. I guess there was that one commander that's got like the archer thing. Anyways, awesome. Good. That being said, just power matters synergies. You can definitely utilize like a stompy type strategy with it as well. Like low the ground, get creatures out that have a good amount of power and toughness. Cool. Do that. Devotion, I guess, as well. Definitely consider that. But overall, again, having the flexibility of also just being a, you know what? I don't like that artifact or enchantment. Let's get rid of it. It is dependent on that X, though, obviously. So if there's a really hefty, artifact or enchantment in play, like, say, a Smothering Tithe or something like that, yeah, you got to pay 6 mana to take that out. That being said, you can do that at instant speed, and you draw a card when you do so. And on top of that, again, keep in mind that with cycling effects, with these cycling triggers, they are very hard to stop because, again, you are not casting it. You are cycling it. That's an ability, essentially. And, yeah, your opponents can't exactly do anything about that with a regular counterspell. They could stifle it, but not many players run stifle or stifle-type effects. So, yeah, it's basically an uncounterable spell that's like, hey, get rid of that Smothering Tithe. And, yeah, you draw a card with it. And, obviously, like, if you're getting rid of, like, a Soul Ring, cool, it's just 3 mana to do so, and you draw a card that's quite nice. It is flexible. Now, is this going to be like, every deck needs this? This is like, not like, what's the Canker Bloom one? Not every deck needs that, but still, like, it's not. It is a very solid card, but again, like, kind of the mana intensity of that potential cycle effect is maybe a bit hindering to certain decks out there, though, again, you are in green. So, yeah, it's a solid, again, low-to-the-ground creature that is good in its defensive as well. It's got reach. That being said, yeah, it is a good flexible card that can get rid of things, too. Cool. Moving on. Monument to Endurance. Now, I believe this is just like the version that they shared for whatever reason is on Arena. I don't know why. I would assume that this card is also legal. I'm assuming this card is actually be printed. I don't see anything as to why it would not be. Let me know if I'm wrong on this, though, but I'm going to go with a 99.99999% likelihood that they just put out the arena version for some reason instead of like the regular version. Monument to Endurance, an artifact for 3. When you discard a card, choose one that hasn't been chosen this turn. Draw a card, create treasure token. Each opponent loses 3 life. Okay, this is grossly cool. Again, keep in mind that there are certain words that are not present on here, which generally are when it comes to these kinds of effects. Whenever you discard a card, not one or more cards. So it's not like, oh, you wheeled, you discarded 7 cards. You only get one of these effects. No. You wheeled, you discarded 7 cards. 7 cards. You get to get every single one of these effects. Now, only one of them essentially each. Draw 1 card, make 1 treasure token, each opponent lose 3 life. That's still a good amount of value, a great amount of value to get every single time you discard, again, 3 or more cards. That being said, obviously, discarding a single card is huge. Like, this literally just turns like your looting effects. Again, it's only once each turn, right? Again, this turn. So on every single turn, if you've got, say, a looting effect, you're getting an extra card draw. So you're actually going up in card advantage. Again, looting being draw 1, discard 1. Now you get to draw 2 because you are draw 1, discard 1, draw 1. So you get to go up on card advantage. Or again, make a treasure token or drain your opponents. This is amazing, obviously, again, in a just discard strategy. If you have just like a free discard outlet as a commander, essentially, there's only so many of those out there. One of the Elder Dragons, can't remember the name of that one. Brain is not Chromium? I think it's Chromium. Yeah, it's basically a free discard outlet, so like that kind of effect, essentially, or other ones, other commanders that do encourage you to discard or force you to discard or allow you to discard, great. Utilize it because it's a lot of value. But yeah, if you've got a wheel strategy, if you've got a discard strategy, if you have a loot strategy, definitely consider this card. It is quite good and a lot of value to be had throughout the game for you. Yeah, I mean, literally, just at the end of the day, like, it's, oh, okay, get a mana back at the very least from, like, one of your discard spells because you're like, oh, I get a treasure token, cool, all right, now my discard spell only cost me, like, 1 mana instead of 2, essentially, because you get that mana back. Or, yeah, replaced a card, gave you another card, or drained opponents, it could be a finisher for you as well. So, yeah, a great amount of value. Again, if you have, like, the free discard outlets, or if you've got, say, repeatable wheel effects or whatnot, on each turn, like, that could be 4 cards, 4 treasures, and 12 life lost with 1 trooper on the table. Gross and amazing. Next up, yet another card where it's like, okay, did they put out this for a reason, like the arena version? I don't know. I'm assuming that this is, again, also legal in Commander, going to be actually printed. 5/5 demon flying for 7 mana in black. Shefet archfiend. Oh, when it enters, all the creatures get -2/-2 on top turn, cycling for 2. So this is one that is essentially, you know what? Hey, when I come into play, I'm taking out all the small creatures. Goodbye. Or, you know, can cycle me away if you don't need me. So again, cycle deck, fluctuator deck, getting one step closer, absolutely. When it comes to, like, Demon Tribal, maybe that is a really hefty cost. Again, 7 mana for a 5/5. Even if it does take out, you know, some smaller creatures, and it does have flying, there's probably some better demons out there. Overall, probably more of like a card that's like, okay, again, cycling good, or maybe a deck that likes to use and abuse ETBs, potentially, and yes, Demon Tribal can definitely consider it. Next up, we've got Pactdoll Terror. 3/4 artifact creature toy for 4 mana in black. Whenever this creature or another artifact you control enters, each one loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. Wizards. Can we have a conversation over here just off to the side? Okay, all right, come here. Yeah, so, yeah, are you okay? It seems like you're just you're copy pasting a Blood Artist effects again and again and again. Oh yeah, I know. I'm sorry. We keep players like it. We need to keep doing it. Oh, okay. Well, slow down. Okay, slow down. Yeah, it seems like basically we are getting an absurd amount of Blood Artist type effects now. They're just like, Blood Artist does this, Blood Artist does that, Blood Artist does everything. I mean, this one isn't when things die, right? But it's like, hey, you know what artifacts players love? Treasures! Yay! And so all of a sudden it's like, okay, drain your opponents out when you're making treasures. We already have a lot of ways to do that. Okay, I don't know if we need every single card to be like, all right, a draining effect, another draining effect, another draining effect. That being said, yeah, it's going to see play. It's not the... I kind of went on a diatribe right there. Obviously, it's not all that problematic at all. It is a 4 mana, you know, Blood Artist type effect, essentially, but just for artifacts, and again, on enter, not on them getting taken out or whatnot. We have, like, Mirkwood Bats, obviously, is much better. That being said, yeah, at some point, you're just going to be able to make, like, Blood Artist.deck, where you're just like, okay, get all the Blood Artist effects, chuck them into one deck, and there you go. There's your deck. It works. Yay! it's a solid card. Like, again, like if you have an artifact strategy, obviously, yes. If you've got like a blink strategy with artifacts as well, yes. If you've got any kind of an artifact token producing strategy, absolutely. My goodness, again, it doesn't say non-token, so treasures, clues, mirror, whatever it's going to be, drain your opponents out with that. A very solid card. And keep in mind, it does drain when this enters as well. So there you go. Next up, Lumbering Worldwagon, a star 4 artifact vehicle, which has a, I don't know why it's like a little like blurry on that word, but it is. Don't know why. For 3 mana in green. This vehicle's power is equal to the number of lands you control. Whenever this vehicle enters or attacks, you may search life for a basic land card, put on the battlefield, tap, then shuffle, crew 4. So we have seen this type of a card before, like some equipment that kind of like, hey, on attack, like, you know, go get a land or whatnot. And actually a creature that does that too. That being said, this is on a vehicle, which is obviously very solid for vehicle decks. And obviously this can be a really heavy hitter the further along the game goes. Now, it doesn't increase its toughness, so it is susceptible to, you know, removal in certain ways, and also like, yeah, just getting blocked and taken out essentially. But still, it can hit really hard, and obviously it does just at a base level, again, on enter, get you that basic land on the battlefield tap. So at the worst, it is, hey, okay, 3 mana ramp. Yeah, it's not all that great with that, but it is like kind of just sitting and waiting and ready to be crewed up, so it can be a big heavy hitter. It can be something that could survive maybe a board wipe essentially, obviously with like a Wrath of God effect. And then, oh, okay, I play my commander again real quick. I crew 4, and then I swing through and I hit you for a ton. It can be a finisher in that way. So it can just be like sitting and waiting for certain decks with that. When it comes to like, obviously, it can ramp itself as well. It can help ramp you again and again and again while it is attacking, which is huge. That being said, yeah, you do need to like pretty consistently be able to crew for it to like get a lot of value out of that. Obviously, if you're like, okay, this could be one of my huge ramp engines, it's like, okay, you better be crewing it quite a bit, because if you're not, then it doesn't really matter all that much. It's going to be sitting there and waiting. And crew 4, again, is, like I like to say, like crew 1, like, okay, yeah, obviously easy. 2 is like right around that as well. 3 is like, okay, that actually, you have to commit a little bit. And crew 4 is like, okay, you got to commit a decent amount actually to be able to crew this up. You're not always just going to be like, oh, I've got some tokens lying around or whatnot. So yeah, being able to essentially keep crewing this, get a lot of value out of it. Either you are, again, just going to have it, it ramps me, it stays in play, and I've got a commander that can just, you know, has 4 power, essentially I can just, you know, crew it up when I need to. Or again, it can be a good like, oh yeah, after a board wipe happens, I hit you for a ton because creatures are gone, but this I can crew right away and swing with. Great. But yeah, I mean, obviously, like, landfall decks consider it as well, because it is a great repeatable landfall effect. Again, when you are talking about decks that are like, oh yeah, I could consistently crew this. Great, obviously. Like Rampaging Baloths or whatever that one is. Again, the one makes 4/4s whenever lands come into play. That's like perfect for it. It's like, okay, I make a 4/4. I crew it. Oh, cool, I attack with it. I make a 4/4. But yeah, obviously, you can get taken out too. So again, vehicles, landfall, yeah, just miscellaneous. I've got a commander that has power 4, and I'm willing to just use this as a inefficient source of ramp to start off with and then keep ramping with it. It's a pretty cool card, absolutely. Next up, we've got Dracosaur Auxiliary, a 4/4 dinosaur dragon mount. I'm sorry everyone out there who likes like dinosaur dragons, but like those are, I don't feel the need to combine those 2 creature types. Those are just, can't they just be separate things? I don't know. Flying Haste for 6 mana in red. When this creature attacks while saddled, deals 2 damage to any target. I don't know, I have a problem with that. Like dinosaurs and dragons, I'm like, don't make combinations. Don't with any of those. Like, just let them be their own thing. They're just very much their own thing. Like cat dragons, no. Cat dragons, bird dragons, all those things. Okay, anyways, attacks while saddled, deals 2 damage to any target, saddle 3, probably more of a limited card. All that to say that. Yeah, I mean, like, it is nice to be able to take some things out. I probably would consider it for dinosaur or dragon tribal. Like, yeah, saddle 3, again, it's a decent amount to saddle. And you're like, okay, I shock you for 2. Ha-ha! Okay, not in commander. Next up, Guardian Sunmare. Here we go. 5/5 horse mount for 5 mana in white. Ward 2. Whenever this creature attacks while saddled, search life for a non-land permanent card, mana value 3 or less on the battlefield, then shuffle saddle 4. If you had horse combo card on your bingo card for this spoiler season, then you win. Yeah, this is a very solid saddle trigger, I guess, attack saddle trigger. Being able to just tutor out any non-land permanent in your library with mana value 3 or less, that can be absolutely huge. And again, it is on attack, so like the first time you do it, if you need to get something like to protect this, if it's like, oh, I'm swinging my 5/5 to that giant army, you probably have some way to like, oh, it comes into play and like gives indestructible or like, you know, or whatnot. So being able to, you know, protect, obviously can be amazing, but being able to just, yeah, go get whatever pieces you need, whatever combination of cards that you need. You can go get like the 2 combo cards and just be like, okay, Basalt Monolith and Rings of Brighthearth. I mean, 2 separate attacks, but still like, all right, I win. Yay! Yeah, obviously very solid for horse tribal as well, for, you know, a mount vehicle type deck as well. There's a lot of potential for this card. It's not for every deck out there, but again, like a crazy attack trigger tutor. Yep. And obviously, I forgot to mention as well, though, yeah, if you have extra combats, that's quite nice for this as well. And obviously could get you to combo even quicker. Next up, though, we've got... here we go. Caelorna Coral Tyrant. Okay, I am not disappointed because, again, on an episode yesterday, I went over 3 of the vanilla creatures that we got, the 3 vanilla legendaries that we got. Morrow basically said, hey, there's going to be a cycle of vanilla legendaries, and then we got 3 of them, and I was like, why are there 3? Shouldn't there be 5? Here's the 4th! So that means we are going to get the 5th too, which is amazing. Absolutely love it. This is very simple, obviously. A 0/8 octopus for 2 mana in blue. And that's it, because again, it is a vanilla creature, and again, if you don't know what a vanilla creature is, it means that it has absolutely no text on it except for flavor text, basically. It has no abilities, no effects, no nothing, no keywords. So, literally just a 0/8 octopus for 2 mana that can be your commander. Now, it's really funny because when it comes to, like, commanders and, like, what they do and, like, how you want to build around them, this one might stump me more than any that I've remembered in a long, long time, because it's like, what do I want to build around this? Like, what do I do with you? Like, okay, I get you on turn 2. I have a giant wall that is not a wall. Cool. Yeah, I mean, it's going to be hard for your opponents to get through on you for a while, I guess, obviously. And there are certain cards out there that, you know, help you with toughness, you know, taking advantage of, like, having the greatest toughness and that kind of stuff as well. But typically those cards, unfortunately, aren't in just mono blue. Now, there are some cards that you can do some really interesting things with, and I'm going to give you my initial thoughts on this one and how I would build around it, because it is kind of spicy and interesting. And if you just show up to the table and you're like, I've got my vanilla commander, and it's a 0/8, yeah! And then you're going up against, like, Urza, and you're like, I'll take you down, Urza, with my octopus. And it's going to go great for you. Let's jump into it. So, first up, one of the very first cards that came to my mind was Pariah Shield. I mean, just a very simple card, an equipment for 5 mana, equip 3, all damage will be dealt to you is dealt to equip creature instead. So, basically, like, hey, yeah, if you hurt me, it just hurts this creature instead. And because your commander, again, has just a giant amount of toughness, yeah, it's going to take a good amount to actually take it out. Now, obviously, you probably want to increase that toughness even more, you know, once things get a little crazier, or at least have some, like, you know, backup plans when someone's attacking with a giant army and you're like, should I aetherize this or let my commander just die? Now, obviously, if your commander, you know, only costs 2, it doesn't cost that much more if a commander tax gets, you know, happening, but that's okay. You can take some hits. Levitation, another card to consider. Again, if you're going to go, like, on the defensive strategy with this commander, like, just, like, make some walls, essentially, like your commander, again, just sit back, having a good amount of ways to block, obviously, and not just like, oh, they've got flyers and they went over my walls. Yeah, Levitation is an amazing card. Absolutely incredible. Enchantment for 4 mana, creature control flying. Very simple, very effective. Obviously helps you on offense as well, though you only have 0 power with your commander. But that can change, of course. Next up, Charx the Raging Isle. Again, if you are going in this, like, hey, really heavy defense strategy, there's a lot of great walls or defenders or just creatures that have an absurd amount of toughness in blue. 0/17 Leviathan Crab for 4 mana in blue. Spells your opponents cast, the target it costs 2 more to cast. Basically, Ward 2-ish. Not without the abilities, though. Pay 3, gets +X, -X until out of turn, X number of islands you control. So, yeah, this one can actually hit hard. Your commander cannot. Again, it is vanilla. But that being said, yeah, there are some different kind of, like, defending type creatures that, yeah, have some different ways to go about it. So, yeah, definitely a thing to consider as well. And it is a Leviathan, and also your commander's an octopus, so of course you could go Sea Monster Tribal or just utilize Whelming Wave just in general because your commander again is an octopus. Sorcery for 4 mana in blue, return all creatures to owner's hands except for Krakens, Leviathans, octopuses, and serpents. So being able to just go, oh okay, yeah, let's just wipe the board. Cool. All right, my commander's still there. Yay! You had some threatening things on the board, and I didn't like it, and now they're gone. Also, Engulf the Shore, obviously another great way to do that. Instant for 4 mana in blue. Return to the owner's hands all creatures with toughness less than or equal to the number of islands you control. So this one is variable, and it does actually affect you as well. That being said, it does take quite a bit for you to actually get to, again, 8 islands, which would bounce your own commander. And again, that's if your commander doesn't have any other effects that increase its toughness. So this basically can be like a one-sided board wipe for you, again, depending on what kind of deck you are building. Next up, though, Drolf Visionary Stitcher, a 1/4 human wizard for 3 mana in blue. Zombies you control have flying, pay blue, tap, sacrifice another non-token creature. Create an XX blue zombie creature token where X you sacrifice creature's toughness. yeah, if you're going super heavy into, again, toughness and your commander being tough and that kind of stuff as well, being able to just say, oh, okay, my commander costs 2 mana. I'll pay 1 mana, tap, sacrifice it. I make an 8/8 zombie that has flying. Yeah, that can be a good threat, probably the biggest threat on the board. And yeah, just go replay your commander, which costs 4. Obviously, if you were in other colors as well, it could be a little easier to like feign death type effects, bring the commander back or whatnot. But still, yeah, it's not the worst strategy to be like, okay, I get my commander out, I get this out, and I like get some things on it that maybe increase its toughness a ton, and then start sacrificing it, and then again and again and again, and make an army of giant zombies. Fun. Moving on. Yeah, if you want to just kind of go like the combo route, you could like, okay, I'm just going to sit back with my commander, like put up the defenses, you know, be a little control-y, and then like dramatic reversal, untap on non-land permanents I control, imprints on an Icegron Scepter. Cool. Infinite combo as well. I mean, I guess I'll read through it real quick. Comes to play, remove an instant card to convert a mana cost 2 or less from your hand. Pay 2, tap, and print it on, I guess. Pay 2 and tap. You may copy the imprinted instant card and play the copy of paying its mana cost. Infinite mana, basically, if you've got mana rocks that tap for more than 2 in total. Yeah, so plenty of ways to go infinite and win from there. But basically, again, it could be just a, all right, like I'm going to seem non-threatening, obviously, because I've got a commander that is just a 0/8 vanilla creature that does nothing. And players are going to laugh at me a little bit, maybe, which you should not, because I am going to destroy you. But yeah, being able to just sit back and go, okay, I'm just going to control the board. I'm going to not be a threat. I'm going to have a good blocker, so it disincentivizes opponents to come after me. And then eventually just combo off and win. So yeah, you could do it that way too. If you really want to go heavy into things though, you could go like Blackblade Reforged and like all of a sudden this octopus has a sword. Equipment for 2 mana, equip ledger creature for 3, +1 for each land you control. So yeah, again, if you're like, all right, my toughness is now absurd. Let's say you have like 7 lands in play. My toughness is absurd at 15. Good luck ever taking me out. And also I'm coming to poke you with my sword for 7 damage. So yeah. If you're trying to play the long game in that way, or just, I mean, utilize, there's a good amount of pump effects. Yes, even in blue, most of them are equipment still, but even in blue, there are pump effects. So definitely consider ways to make your commander into, again, an unstoppable force that is really difficult, if not impossible, for your opponents to really take out when they're blocking. So you just keep swinging through and hopefully get through and take them out. Slagworm armor, again, when it comes to equipment, a good one to consider if you're going super heavy into the most toughness ever on a creature. Equipment for 1, creature +0, +6, equip 3. Being able to just put this on your commander and be like, okay, now it's got 14 toughness. Good luck ever taking it out with anything. It even survives Blasphemous Act. Yay! Mirror in the Morning Well is another card I just want to bring up. I didn't realize this card was $20. Legendary land, taps for colors, pay 3, tap, sacrifice creature, gain life with the sacrifice creature's toughness. Again, just a way to be like, oh, just in case, emergency, I need to gain some life. Gaining 8 life off of your commander is not all that bad of a thing in an emergency. Or again, if you've got like Slagworm armor on it or whatnot, sure, gain 14 life or to sacrifice Chargs or whatever it's going to be. But yeah, $20 is a decent amount for this. But again, there's only so many ways to really take advantage of like the most toughness. You could go like, there's some evolve cards, obviously, you can take advantage of as well. But yeah, I think more so you're probably going to go like a little more of a controlling route essentially with this one. And then, yeah, if you want to, I guess, go a little bit combo-y to kind of finish it off or just kind of control and then eventually win like, again, draw Visionary Stitcher kind of thing too. It's an interesting commander that can go in a lot of different directions. Again, just being a vanilla commander, it's kind of like, do whatever you want. It's like, it's a pick your own adventure essentially with this kind of a commander where, again, the world is your oyster? Is that the phrase? The world is your octopus. There you go. And with that, this episode is coming to a close. Comment below with your thoughts on it. And of course, as always, thanks again and have a good one. This show and episodes like this one are possible thanks to viewers like you. If you're looking for an easy way to help support this show, make sure that you like, share, and subscribe. Also, hit that bell notification icon so you don't miss any new episodes. You can also go check out our playmats and other merchandise at thecommandersquarters.com. Another easy way to support this show is with our TCG player affiliate links. So whether you're buying a deck or individual cards, you can use this general link right here or one in the description. And the final way that you can support this show is by supporting us directly by becoming a patron. There are many benefits to being a patron, and I truly couldn't do this without all of their support.